Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to share with you my labor and delivery story with the twins. If you hear crazy noises in the background, that is the kids upstairs destroying the upstairs. So if you don't know, my twins are our 6th and 7th babies, and they were born at 35 weeks exactly. So 2 days before that, I had a checkup, and she went ahead and checked my cervix, and I was 2 centimeters dilated. And then from that appointment, I went over and had a non-stress test done, and like the whole time over there, like I was, kind of having contractions. It wasn't too far of a drive, but it wasn't anything awful. So I get to the non-stress test, they hook me up, and it was literally like the quickest non-stress test I've had, period. And I think I went like 3 or 4 times and had them done. And then so after that was over, I came home. It was kind of crampy, didn't really feel great. And then we might have even went to bed early that night or something. I don't really remember that day. But the next day was Thursday, and I remember waking up and I was like, I felt off. And I went to the bathroom, and this is TMI, and like I had lost quite a bit of my mucus plug. And that day, Chris had an appointment. I think it's about an hour from where we live. So we drove up there, was in the car, still contracting, Braxton Hicks, whatever it was. Nothing too awful. But I mean, I was timing them, and I was starting to get a little concerned because I had never lost my mucus plug before, and I don't, I was getting kind of concerned. So we get home. I'm just kind of laying around, moping around, and was just trying to take it easy. And I remember I had went to the bathroom again, and there was a little bit more mucus that came out, and I had to ask Chris if it looked like I had dropped. And he's like, yeah, you better sit down and put your feet up. So I did. I was as lazy as I could be that night because my induction was set for February 13th. So this is February 6th. This is this day. So I go to bed, still having contractions, but nothing where I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to go to the hospital. So the next day, Friday, is February 7th. And I got up at about 6:15 to get the kids their clothes pulled out and get them up and ready for school and all that fun stuff. So the bus came that day, I think it was about 7:10. So I got my 3 older kids out. This is killing me. My 3 older kids out the door on the bus, and I went back and laid in bed because at this time everybody in the house was sick. 4 of my kids had ear infections that we had just gotten taken care of earlier. Or no, I lied. That was the next week. But my 2 youngest kids were sleeping in the living room because our bedroom's right off the living room. And so we were trying to be really quiet because you could tell they were sick. They both had coughs all night long, which I had figured was ear infection, which turned out it was ear infection because I ended up taking them to the doctor on Monday when I got discharged. But so my big kids are off to school. We're trying to stay quiet so the little kids don't wake up. And okay, so they're out the door at 7:10. I go back and lay in bed, and I'm laying on my left side facing Chris and playing, I think it was one of the games on my phone. I don't really remember which one. But I'm playing on my phone, watching YouTube videos, scrolling through Facebook, like just debating if I want to get up and make a cup of coffee or if I feel like I want to fall back asleep. And at 7:45, like without warning, my water literally just like explodes. It was like there was a water balloon in my vagina, and it just like poof exploded. And I hurried up and I woke Chris up and I'm like, babe, get up, my water just broke. And he's like, what? No, it's not supposed to happen until next week. And I was like, yes, my water broke. He's like, are you kidding? I'm like, no, I'm not kidding. Like, I'm soaked. And we have a memory foam mattress and our bed was wet for like 5 days after this. But anyways, so my water literally like exploded at 7:45. So I call my grandma because I know she doesn't start working until 8. I was like, hey, my water broke. We're going to be going to the hospital here soon. Is there any way I can bring Kaylin and Landon, my younger two? Can I bring them to you? Like, I got to go to the hospital. She's freaking out. So she's like, yes. Like, let's go. Let's do this. So I'm trying to get out of bed. And Kaylin is laying on the floor, like, right at my feet. And my water is just, I'm leaking fluid everywhere. And so I try to walk from my room to the bathroom to get the wet clothes off of me and to get, like a pad on and try to get dried up so I can get everybody ready, because I was not prepared to go into labor. I really thought I was going to make it to my induction. And so I had nothing prepared. I didn't have my hospital bag ready. I didn't have anything for the kids ready. Okay, so whatever. We all get dressed. It's been almost like 30, 45 minutes it took us to get ready before we actually left the house. And on the way to the hospital, I'm timing contractions. I'm like starting to panic because they're starting to get close, kind of starting to hurt a little bit. Like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have the babies in the car. Like, I was freaking out. Okay, so finally we get to the hospital. Remember, my water broke, so I'm leaking fluid everywhere, trying to help load the kids into my grandma's car, trying to get into the hospital. Chris runs inside. Well, he gets the kids in the car. My grandma leaves. Chris runs inside, grabs me a wheelchair, comes out. We go inside, go up to labor and delivery, and they get me in a room, and she's like, basically, get naked. And I thought I could at least leave my top on. She's like, no, like, we need you naked. And I'm like, shoot. So I get naked, and she takes the thing to make sure it was my water, which, believe me, nurse, it was my water. Like, my water exploded. So she takes a thing to check to make sure it was my water that broke. And this is about 9:30, I want to say, in the morning. And, yeah, so I get naked, get the gown on, get in bed. They hook me up to the monitors. The doctor comes in. The on-call doctor comes in. And she checks my cervix, 6 centimeters dilated. She can feel baby A's head and hand, which is weird. And so she did an ultrasound to see where B was. And 2 days before that, I had just had an ultrasound, and both babies were head down. After my water broke, or A's water broke, B ended up going from being head down, and she like switched to the top of my uterus and was laying like across ways, so she was transverse. And the doctor's like, if I can't get her to move, you're gonna have a C-section to get her out. Like, A is gonna come out no problem, but B you'll have to have a C-section if I can't move her. She's like way up there. I'm like, okay. So they just kind of leave me alone. I'm laying in bed enjoying the peace and quiet. Or they put the thing on A's head for her heart rate and something else up in there to do contractions. And this is about like 10 o'clock. So I'm laying there, enjoying the quiet before the chaos starts. They're coming in, checking on me every like 30 minutes. Like, do you need anything? You doing okay? At about 12:30ish, the doctor came back in. She checked me again. I believe I was 9 centimeters, 9.5. She's like, okay, we'll start getting the room ready and everything. And I'm just kind of like, all right, let's have some babies. So, yeah, the nurses start getting the room ready, the crib's ready. I'm starting to freak out because I'm like, I'm about to have 2 more babies. For some reason, I don't know why, but like the whole delivery process, it just scares me. And yeah, so it was like 25 or so minutes later, they come in. They're like, all right, they're setting the stirrups up. They're turning the fancy little light on, and they are ready for me to have some babies. And A came out, you know, like Superman. Her, I don't know, but it reminds me of Superman, like when he's flying with his arm in the air. That A came out. It wasn't even like, I think I pushed maybe twice, and she came out. And then they took her right away to start, you know, doing all of her assessments and everything, make sure everything was okay. And then the doctor tried moving B, but she couldn't because she was so high up. And they didn't tell me that they had called my OB, who said she will deliver her breech, like, because she knows I was terrified of having a C-section, which I have nothing against C-sections. I was terrified because I've never had surgery, period. They were going to have to put me to sleep if I had to have one done. So I was just like, I would rather just push my baby out. So my doctor comes flying in the room like 5 minutes later. She explained to me, I think the week before I had seen her at an appointment, and she kind of explained to me, like, if she does go breech, you know, I will grab her by the feet and basically just help guide her out. That's what happened. So she gowns up, breaks my water, or B's water, which I did not realize there was so much fluid in me. Oh my goodness, like, it was crazy. Which I had a lot of fluid with my last baby too. But yeah, twins, lots of fluid. Stuff was huge. So anyway, so she breaks my water. B comes out feet first. And they immediately take her, or they put her on me for a second. And she's not really crying. And they take her straight down to the NICU. And the OB's like, you know, sometimes when babies are delivered breech or like that, they're kind of stunned. But, you know, everything was, with delivery, everything was fine. They cleaned me up. They cleaned the room out pretty quick. So I'm just kind of laying there. I did have, like a lot of bleeding. They had to give me a lot of medication to try to help clot it up and for me to stop bleeding as much. I do remember that much. But I had the girls a little after 1, and it was about 3 before, 3 or 4. I think it was 3:30, 3:34, something like that, before I was able to move from the labor and delivery room to the mother baby room. And on my way down there, I stopped by the NICU to see the girls, and yeah, A was doing great. B had to have the CPAP on for 3 days, I believe. That was just because I did not get the steroid shot, because I was supposed to get that Tuesday and Wednesday, or Wednesday and Thursday, Tuesday, something like that, before my induction. And so the following week, a couple days later, and I lost train of thought. So she was on CPAP for a couple days. They both had feeding tubes for about a week, a little over a week, I want to say. Just learning how to feed and gain weight. So A was 4 pounds, 15 and a half ounces, and B was 4 pounds, 14 ounces. And I believe I updated in my 34-week video. No, 32, because I didn't have a growth scan. Might have been 32 or 31. One of those weeks. I know I'm pretty sure I updated their weight, but at the last growth scan I had, they had A at 410 and B at 513. So that was totally off. But yeah, so I seen them in the NICU. They were in the NICU for a total of 12 days, which in reality was great, because 4 of my kids had really bad ear infections and colds and nasty coughs. One of the ones that had ear infection also had influenza B. So the entire house had to get put on Tamiflu. And yeah, they came home and everybody's feeling better. And they've been home for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 10 days. And they're doing great. They had a checkup, not yesterday, but the Friday before that, and they both were 5 pounds, 3 ounces. And so they're gaining weight. And if I think I could do maybe an update video on them too. Just kind of go more in depth with them. I'm still trying to figure out how to hold both of them at the same time. And yeah, but everything's going good. I'm very thankful that labor kind of went how I wanted it to, and that I did not have to have a C-section because I was really nervous. And yeah, everything's going good. Everybody's adjusting. Everybody's back to being healthy. No more babies coming out of this mama. So now I got to figure out what to make videos about since that little journey's over. And I have video coming out soon. I got to write down all the questions that everybody or a couple people had in past videos. Just some questions that I will answer, and trying to talk Chris into getting me a camera or a better phone to film on, because my iPhone 6s Plus sucks. And yeah, so thank you guys for watching. If you made it this far, you guys are champions. My children are beginning to fight, so good thing my labor and delivery wasn't too long, too exciting. But yeah, it was like A came out in 2 pushes and B maybe like 2 or 3, because the little turkey floated way to the top of my uterus. But thank you guys for watching. I appreciate the support, and yeah, just something I've always wanted to do was make YouTube videos, but just I don't know why. I just never got around to doing it, but I love being able to kind of remember, or being able to look back on certain points or parts, points, times, you know, things like that in life. And I'm definitely going to enjoy looking back and listening to myself talk about being pregnant with the twins, because we are not having any more babies. 7 babies is more than enough babies for us, and especially our 4th and 5th are Irish twins. So our 5th was born the day before our 4th turned 1, and then now we have identical twins, which, oh goodness, I still can't even tell them apart. But I'm gonna stop gabbing. Thank you guys. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend, week, day, night, whatever time of day it is that you are watching this. Thank you for the support, and I will see you all in my next video.